Falcon Rising, 2014, is an explosive action thriller starring Michael Jai White as Jon Falcon Chapman, a battle-worn Marine struggling with PTSD. When his sister is brutally attacked in Brazil, he embarks on a relentless mission to bring those responsible to justice. His journey uncovers a dark web of corruption, human trafficking, and crime, setting the stage for an intense action spectacle. The film opens with Jon Chapman, a decorated but troubled ex-Marine, battling PTSD and depression. He struggles to adjust to civilian life, living in isolation and dealing with past war traumas through heavy drinking and occasional outbursts of violence. His only emotional anchor is his sister, Cindy Chapman, a compassionate aid worker stationed in Brazil. One evening, Cindy contacts Jon from Rio de Janeiro, describing the dangerous environment she's working in. She talks about the widespread crime, the struggling communities, and the growing corruption she has observed. Although Jon is distant, Cindy's voice offers him a small semblance of peace. But everything shatters when he receives a devastating call. Cindy has been attacked and left for dead in an alley. Fueled by rage and desperation, Jon immediately boards a flight to Brazil, determined to uncover the truth and punish those responsible. Upon arriving in Rio, Jon meets Manny Ridley, an old friend and former Marine now working as a U.S. Embassy contact. Manny advises Jon to stay out of trouble and let the Brazilian authorities handle Cindy's case. But Jon, distrustful of the system, insists on conducting his own investigation. Visiting the hospital, he finds Cindy in a coma, brutally beaten and barely clinging to life. The local police, led by Detective Tiago Santo, dismiss the attack as a random act of violence. However, Jon senses that there's more to the story. Determined, Jon begins digging into Cindy's past few days, speaking to people who worked with her. This leads him to the favelas, the city's slums, where crime syndicates operate freely. Here, he meets Catarina da Silva, a kind-hearted social worker who gives him insight into the local crime dynamics and warns him that powerful people are involved. Jon soon learns of Rocha, a notorious crime boss who controls most of the illegal activities in the area. He also hears rumors about a Yakuza connection involving a mysterious enforcer named Hada. As Jon delves deeper, he discovers that Cindy's attack wasn't a random mugging. It was an attempt to silence her. She had stumbled upon evidence linking high-ranking officials to a human trafficking ring operating under the protection of corrupt police officers. Jon begins his one-man war against the criminals involved, starting with small-time street thugs and working his way up the chain. He methodically dismantles Rocha's operations, engaging in brutal hand-to-hand combat and high-octane action sequences. One of the film's standout action scenes involves Jon ambushing a warehouse where trafficked women are being held. Using his Marine combat training, he takes down a dozen armed guards, rescuing several captives and gaining valuable intel. On eventually discovers that Rocha, despite his power, is just a pawn. The real mastermind is Colonel Silva, a high-ranking police official working with the Yakuza to traffic women through Rio's ports. Silva, a man supposed to uphold the law, is instead exploiting it for personal gain. Jon's confrontation with Silva's men escalates into a deadly game of cat and mouse. He faces Hada, the Yakuza enforcer, in an electrifying martial arts showdown. However, in a twist, Hada realizes the extent of Silva's betrayal and switches sides, helping Jon bring down the corrupt police network. The climax sees Jon infiltrating Silva's heavily guarded compound, where an all-out battle ensues. Using tactical prowess and sheer determination, he eliminates Silva's private army, leading to an intense final duel with the colonel himself. Silva, wounded, sneering, "You think killing me will change anything?" Jon, calmly, "No, but it's a start." With one final blow, Silva is defeated, his empire crumbling around him. With the criminals exposed and Cindy recovering, Jon is left at a crossroads. He has found purpose again, but his war isn't over. Manny approaches with an offer, a chance to take on more missions, fighting corruption on a global scale. As Jon walks away from Rio, the sun rising behind him, we know that the Falcon has only just begun to rise. Falcon Rising, 2014, is an action-packed spectacle delivering high-energy fight sequences, a compelling protagonist, and themes of justice and redemption. Michael Jai White shines as Jon Chapman, bringing both brutality and depth to the role. The film stands out as a must-watch for fans of martial arts and vigilante thrillers. Final thoughts: action, brutal, fast-paced, and well-choreographed. Story: a solid revenge thriller with compelling themes. Character development: Jon Chapman's journey from a broken soldier to a justice seeker adds emotional weight to the action, with its mix of military precision, street justice, and raw martial arts. Falcon Rising cements itself as an underrated gem in the action genre.